Hello, Canucks fans, and welcome back to another episode of the Canucks Conversation, brought to you by the great folks over at Montana's.
It's Wednesday!
And what does Wednesday mean, Chris?
All you can eat, baby. All you can eat ribs. You can have 300 racks if you can do it. What was someone in the chat said? They did 26 half racks one time? 13 full racks of ribs?
I believe, yeah, that's...
How many racks you got here? 1,
much.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-ish ribs. You take that, you times it by, what did we say, 13? 140, 50, 156? 156 pieces of rib? Yeah, right.
It's a lot.
People give me crap for the 30 wings. This guy came into Montana's set a record there, 13 racks of ribs.
Montana's bringing back the viewing party this year. Be sure to go check out one of their 7 locations across British Columbia: Fort St. John, Kelowna, Langley, Nanaimo, Prince George, Tsawwassen, and of course, who could forget, Victoria.
Couple things off the top before we get going here. Shirt that I'm wearing. Apparently, this is news to me. I've said it before. I don't think my mom watches the show, but she's been texting me things from the show. So, Mom, if you're watching, I'm wearing the shirt that says I'm Mom's favorite.
I like that shirt.
Yeah, it's a good shirt. Way better than your whatever that trash bag you're wearing is. It looks like you pulled that out of my garbage can, probably. Oilers Nation, this guy. I tell you, don't get me going here. And I want to give a shout out. We were talking about ribs. What goes great with ribs? Cornbread. Cornbread goes great in the chat as well. Nice to see you back in the chat here. Been listening to the podcast, but excited to make a YouTube show here. So we're excited to have you, Cornbread. One of my favorites.
I'm wearing a beanie today, a little toque, because everybody made fun of my bowl cut yesterday.
Yeah, a lot of people
well,
were coming at
it's been a while. I
And
haven't had a haircut. It's growing in like a bowl. I got to go get a haircut, but I can't get one till like February. So going to be wearing hats from now on so the chat doesn't bully me anymore.
All right, fair enough.
You know what the main topic in Vancouver is right now, Chris?
Your bowl cut?
Not my bowl cut.
Oh.
If you look at the chat from before the show even started, people are talking about Andrei Kuzmenko.
Yeah, lots of Kuzmenko talk on there.
And people saying...
But you know what else a lot of people are talking about? And I know Alex has got the video ready. Last night. So I went a little risque last night with my fit.
Oh, yes. Okay.
The fit that I pulled off last night. And I didn't think this was going to happen. I didn't plan this. But I was late to the Luke Shen conversation and ended up sneaking in on the right side there. The turtleneck and chain with my favorite top. So I was on, I'm getting people text me, hey, I'm watching Sportsnet last night. That turtleneck you're rocking. And then I got about 50 people in the replies telling me about looking like The Rock.
Yeah.
But a thicker version of The Rock. So in certain areas. But I pulled it off last night. I went full out. That's the one I got from the old China warehouse website. Their $20 necklace, but it looks like it's a $4,000 necklace.
And Spencer Martin complimented your fit last night.
Spencer Martin walked by. You can, if you go to the Twitter clip of this on the Canucks page at 1:17, Martin walks by and he goes, "The fit," and I give him a head nod back. So it was good. Commander Vander says, "Yeah, no, the boulder. That's what they call me instead of the Rock."
Okay, let's move on here. Let's get started.
Whoa, what was that?
What?
You're a scrum lurker.
A scrum? Yeah, that's what I was thinking too. She sounds like you're mad at us.
That just
for
sounded
a second.
like Alex just screamed at us for something.
Yeah, no, I was thinking that too. I was like, yeah, this is prime scrum lurker territory. But there was one point where I look in the camera, so I put out a little TikTok of it too. So that's up there on TikTok doing pretty well. And I just say, like, it's been a really nice in the last 12 hours or so. I had someone comment on the TikTok and they were like, "Oh, like you're my favorite Canucks analyst." I said, "Well, that's amazing. It made my night hearing that." And then I wake up in the morning and I'm going to be regular on Halford and Bruff now. And Bruff's reading off all these nice texts. It's nice to hear. And I know everyone in the chat is always so nice. That's why I love coming in here and doing the chat. But I don't know. You hear a lot of crap and sometimes it gets you down. I try not to let everything affect me, but you see a lot of the comments of people being all negative towards you. You know, they get a lot of crap on there. I joke about being a boulder. There's a lot of people that aren't joking when they're stuff that they're saying in the replies to me, and it hurts. Well, no, it doesn't hurt. It's just kind of like I laugh it off a little bit, but when you hear the positive stuff from people that enjoy the podcast or enjoy anything, like it makes you feel a lot better about it. So I appreciated that. It's been a nice 12 hours. I'm in a great mood today.
That's fantastic. You're my favorite Canucks analyst as well.
Yeah, well, yeah. All right. I could say the same to you. But
you don't.
No, but it's like, oh, let's check Quads' recent work as a Canucks analyst. Fartgate.
Hey, no one else is asking the hard questions. Okay?
It's true, yeah.
Anyways,
I love how it's like they haven't seen you in probably like a month. A lot of these guys in the room.
Yeah, I slip in.
Here he comes in. Hey, that fart sound that you made.
And hey,
tell me about it.
Both of those guys, Delia and Martin, very happy to talk to me.
Yeah,
and we had a nice conversation. We shared some laughs, and then I left. I don't stay for this. Oh, let's wait while mice run by our feet. Which that happened recently to me, and I was appalled by it. I freaked out. I understand there's mice everywhere, but still, I don't like rodents and
Did I
stuff.
tell you about back in the day when I used to work at the compost plant?
No.
So I used to work at a compost plant back in this is before I was at the mill. This is when I was maybe 20, 21. Used to work at this place that would be like, it was a recycling spot, but it was mostly like compost, and you recycled compost and you gave it out.
Yeah.
And they would bring the truckloads of compost coming out, and the ones that came from the mall, they would dump, and about 20 plus rats would come
don't even talk to me about that.
They would drop it, right? And then there'd be this big pile of garbage, and you'd see all this movement. All this movement coming around.
No.
They're about this big too, about from
Shut up.
my shoulder width apart.
Shut up.
Not even kidding.
No.
I'm not even joking.
No. We need a drop of Jim Rutherford saying no.
Okay, I can get that for you.
Yeah, we need
Tomorrow
that.
morning I'll have it.
Because I gotta hit it on the board for moments like this when you bring up these ginormous rats.
All right.
Which, by the way, and I'm not trying to call anybody or any buildings out, but it was just one mouse that ran by my foot. I want to make sure I make it clear that it wasn't like there's been multiple. It was just, and I was in the bowels of the arena. So, yeah. Anyways,
the bowels. That's where you find the mice. Yep.
Well, yeah, I was in this. You know what? I'll never. Anyways, I'm not gonna start again.
All right.
But yeah, it was like, it's not where fans or anybody goes. It was just, it's part of the part where it connects to.
Are you hanging out by the garbage cans, or what are you talking about?
It's where the Zamboni goes and parks and stuff. It was near there, and that's and it's my kind of my own fault. I went under the seats, right? Like I took a weird way to get to the media room. It wasn't a rat. It was a mouse.
Mouse territory.
Yeah. And it freaks me out. Oh, I hate rodents.
Yeah, I can see you not being a big rodent guy. Well, no one's really a big rodent guy. I used to have a friend who had a pet. Anyways, he had a pet rat back in the day.
No.
And I thought that was
man.
It was cute. I used to hold. I was 10 years old. I was over at my buddy Dan's house, and he had 2 rats, a white one and a brown one, and they were cute. You held them. They were chill. But these ones that were coming out at the compost plant, oh, buddy,
those aren't chill.
Nope, those were not.
Okay.
That place was the worst job. I couldn't, if you work a hard job, you don't know this. You come home, you work a hard job, and you come home, you're sweaty. You got to shower after work. This place, you had to, we had showers there. You would have to, change out of the work clothes, take a quick shower, put on some, cleanish clothes, go home and shower again because you stunk that bad. It was a compost plant, man. It stunk so bad. It was one of the worst jobs I ever had. It was the worst job I ever had.
I reflect on my construction career sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I didn't.
But I went from the A&W days of just living it up, teen burgers, breakfast whenever you want, to the compost plant. Couldn't have been a worse job.
Let me finish my sentence. I didn't have to shower before I got home. I did shower when I got home, just to be clear. Okay, enough here. We're reliving the glory days here.
Got Alex in my ear. He says, winning for the beginning. Let's get. He wants the ticker to get involved here.
Let's go. Last
night,
Canucks.
I had pet rats as a kid, so I'd love to get more into the rodent talk.
No,
Team
we're
Rat.
done. We're done. Team Rat. Get out of here. Canucks with a 5-2 victory over the Chicago Blackhawks last night. My instant reaction to last night's game, Chris, was watching it just saying, wow, we do the tankathon on this show, and we say, maybe the Canucks, if they lose from here on out, can, catch up in the Bedard sweepstakes to the Blackhawks, the Blue Jackets, and the Anaheim Ducks. Pointed out yesterday, I think, Anaheim Ducks have a -87 goal differential on the season. And it might even be worse after last night. I'm not sure. But actually, they won last night, I think. Anyways, regardless, these teams like Chicago, they are so bad. You watch Chicago play, and I'm not the Canucks. I'm not trying to throw stones out of a glass, but oh, look at the team in Chicago, because hey, they're probably going to get Connor Bedard out of it. But you watch that game.
Teemu Selanne thinks that's again. Did you see that video?
Yeah, I did.
If you didn't, if you're on this, if you're listening, go to Teemu Solanne's Twitter account. Hilarious.
Yeah, it was good. But you watch that game, and yeah, the Canucks don't play good hockey. You watch a good hockey team, and you're like, wow, the Canucks have a lot of catching up to do. But you watch the Chicago Blackhawks last night, and you say, holy cow, they've got nothing. They have nothing in Chicago right now.
What I thought last night about this? It's thinking everyone was like, oh, look at the trade market. It's going to be wild. Ryan O'Reilly's going to be out there. Bo Horvat's going to be out there. Jonathan Toews is going to be available. How the hell would you watch last night's game and be like, oh, yeah, Toews is going to be a huge boost to our team? Like he's at the end of his career, man. You're looking at a very different class of adding a guy, and Taves makes a lot of money.
He's a third line center. He's a third line center on a contending team.
He was not an impact player last night watching him. I know that.
Well, also, I don't really blame him being on the team he's on.
Sure, no, I mean, yeah,
but he's not making a difference, is what you're saying.
No, he's got cups, like that's why he's getting his money. That's why he got cups. Like it was, first of all, it was a wild night at Rogers Arena last night. The first 5 minutes, you got a jersey on the ice. The first stoppage of play, you got boos coming down for the head coach. Sheldon Dries fought and then scores between the leg goal. It was, I tell you, it was a wild night last night at Rogers Arena. But the feeling off the start was like, I don't know if you could like feel this from the broadcast, but being in the arena last night, I was like, you could like, you could drop a pin in there and somebody would hear it. Like it was very quiet in there until that game cranked up, and you were seeing the Canucks like, what do they have, 20 plus shots in the first period? Right, like they were up like 20 to 8 maybe or something like that in the first period. Crazy amount of shot differential, but it was like a tie game, and it was just like like strange vibes in the arena. And I know you want to mention the Tocchet stuff because it wasn't complete boos. It wasn't an arena booing like they did to the Vancouver Canucks when they're losing games 5-1 and they're going off the ice and being completely booed. There was some cheers for sure. People are clapping, people are cheering, but you could hear boos as Tocchet was being announced, and they put it up on the big Jumbotron there. Good thing the Jumbotron is working today or last night. But, it was like a welcome Rick Tocchet. I don't think the boos were for Tocchet. I think the boos are for the organization. That's how I read the situation.
Yeah, obviously. But Rick Tocchet still hears those boos, and it was obviously when he was introduced. And I understand fans were frustrated, so I'm not gonna get into it. Personally, I just thought that was a little uncalled for. And I get it. Like he's the guy that's fielding the criticism. Like if they put Rutherford or Aquilini on the Jumbotron or Alvin or whoever, it'd be Jim. 10 times worse.
Thank you, Jim, for moving on from Boudreaux. That would have been a lot of bigger boo.
Yeah,
and you know what?
And Rocket.
Oh, I like it.
Tocchet was the guy that was kind of. And I'm not criticizing anybody here, but Tocchet was just the guy that the fans could, quote unquote, get their hands on. So I understand why he got the boos. I just thought it was uncalled for. And again, I like Tocchet. I've liked him so far. I liked everything he said so far, and I know it's a small sample size, but I've got no problem with Rick Tocchet so far.
No,
I like Rick Tocchet. I think he's going to do a fine job, and I'm curious to see. I'm not someone who is just going to pile on without seeing a reason to first. I have no reason to pile on Rick Tocchet right now as Vancouver Canucks head coach.
I agree with you, and I think he handled it well yesterday. He's like, my middle name's Lou, and I you can hear my voice, and I'm like, smart fan base, right? I think it's going to be I hope that he continues to have fun with the media. I think that's also going to be interesting to watch because listen, Bruce Boudreau had a ton of fun with the media, with the fan base, with the players, everything. But in those times where things were really dark, that's when Tocchet's going to be challenged, right? Like when this team is losing 9 out of 12 games and not playing against Chicago every night, like you couldn't have set him up for a better position to be able to get a win pretty much, right? Like Boudreau even said, like maybe that's why they had him around that long because they have Chicago up here. And then, it'll be interesting tonight against Seattle, of course. And by the way, Seattle Kraken getting it going today. I didn't see Lisa in the chat here, but I'm sure she's excited for that one. But just the situation that Tocchet was put in last night with the boos, I don't think that happens. He's not going to. Nobody's booing Tocchet in my eyes. I think they're booing the organization or the process of getting to Tocchet. And I think he understood that. Like he said, I'm not here to suck up to the fan base. He said that last night. He's not here to suck up to the fan base. He likes the passion, right? Like I think coaches, players, everybody, they do like the passion of Vancouver market.
When you're coming from Arizona,
it's exactly the same thing. OEL talked about it. Right? He was excited about coming to a market that really gave a damn about this sports team. And it's a different look, right? Like, think about Tocchet last time he coached was in the bubble? Right?
Yes. Yep.
It was Arizona.
Yep.
The dude hasn't coached in front of a big building like that in a long time. And that's something to follow along with for sure as he gets it going. But let's get to some of the stuff from the game because there are some players, some things.
The jersey toss was so silly.
The jersey toss, I don't know what's going on there.
Anyways, go on.
Anyways, I mean, that's the thing, though. To me, though, none of this is about the team moving forward. A lot of this stuff was because of past moments got you to this point. Yeah. The jersey toss was like, well, a lot of us didn't actually see it because we're in the media area on the side of the jersey, so it's kind of down the ice. We actually didn't see it. I was showing everyone because I think Wyatt had a video of it.
Yeah.
So all of us were like, oh, like we completely missed that. But I guess the broadcast caught it because they're on the other side.
Yep.
Anywho, you get the point. And by the way, I see Alex is here. He's he's got the flames going here. He's firing the flames up here. What am I trying to say here?
I have no idea.
Fanning the flames is what I'm trying to say. In the chat here, the rat talk hasn't stopped since the start of the show here. In the YouTube, I'm not touching it. Yeah. I'm not touching it. So Canucks 5-2 win, 2 goals from Kuzmenko. You get a goal from Joshua. You get a goal from Dries. The between the legs goal from Dries. You're a big fan. I know you like this.
Well, that's when I tweeted out the thing on the Canucks Army account about everybody on the Canucks turning into Wayne Gretzky as soon as the Canucks have a chance to ruin their draft lottery odds. Yeah, you start seeing Sheldon Dries go between the legs to score goals.
This is a lot of people in the chat. I've seen some people already saying, I see Commander Vander in here, Team Tank, all that stuff. And yeah, listen, it's still probably better for the Canucks in the long term to lose games right now, right? For the long term of this team, a win against Chicago isn't going to get anybody on board to think that they're going to the playoffs. But this is a team where it's like, listen, you're going up against Chicago. You should beat Chicago. Like we talked about it before yesterday's show. There was a streak where they won 2 games out of 23. Like that's a really, really bad team. And you could see it last night. I mentioned it. I was sitting next to Begsy from Daily Hive. And I looked at it at one point. I think it was the second power play unit for the Blackhawks. I'm looking at the ice. I'm like, how many first names could you name out of like these 5 players on the ice? And we were both like trying really hard to just name a first name of one of these players. I'm like, I don't know, like. Sorry, they don't have a very good team there. Like you think about the Canucks second power play unit, you could name a lot of people that are big hockey fans could name the players or at least their first name. I say, geez Louise, it's a tough team over there. But Joshua and Dries, I tweeted it out at one point. I said they're having really good games to be near the top for the dog ratings. That was before both the players scored a goal. So their work ethic and kind of playing that Rick Tocchet style worked well for them. They end up getting rewarded with goals later in the game. So the other thing I wanted to bring up about Tocchet was, and he talked about this after, was like he had a hunch about Joshua. He started moving Joshua up the lineup a little bit, putting him in some different situations. There was a lot of line movement in my eyes, whether it be because of a defensive zone face-off, an offensive zone face-off. It wasn't just like, okay, line 3, you're out. It was like, hey, line 2, but instead of this player, put Joshua out there. Hey, instead of this player, Dries goes out there for the offensive one. It was kind of a lot of in-game little changes that I don't think we've seen a lot of here in Vancouver in the past couple of coaches.
Remember Travis Green?
Roll 4, baby.
That's right. Yeah. Okay, let's get to the poll question.
Yeah, no, quickly before, because
go ahead. I'll pull
look at this transition I got going into it. You messed it up. Because what I was thinking last night, and this is the last thing I want to say about talking, then we'll get to the poll question. I had a feeling last night could have been an opposite of a coach's bump, right? Because think about the way a coach's bump happens, right? A lot of the time it's like, okay, think about the Travis Green one, right? You're at a point where like the players were probably pretty stale on Travis Green. They were probably at the point of like, okay, we're ready for the next thing. I think that's how it happens a lot of the time. It felt like it could have been the opposite last night because yes, they weren't winning under Bruce Boudreau, but there was such an emotional reaction when we heard from like how things were coming out in the story that Michael Russo wrote for The Athletic over there in Minnesota. He talked to Bruce and said how many players were crying coming to the locker room. I thought there could be a chance for it to be the opposite of a coach's bump. But not really a huge coach bump. Like I said, I think tonight's more of a game where you can judge what this team's going to look like. And it's still so early to judge that it's like after the All-Star break, once some video gets sent out to these players, who does their, who does the homework and is able to really understand the structure that he wants. I think that's when we can start to get it. Right now, you just want to see players giving an effort. So I do think you are going to see a little bit of a coach's bump. Guy who was giving a lot of effort, Will Lockwood. He's on IR, though. Left the game yesterday. Looked like he took a hit. Could have been something in the head or upper body area kind of situation. Don't really know anything yet, but he's on IR. Phil DiGiuseppe gets called up. And that gets us to our poll question, Quad. So there you go. That's what I was doing right there.
Very good. Did you use the word of the day?
No, I didn't use the word of the day yet. Don't.
Well, I'm not. You don't have to cover it.
Well, I read the word and I said, and then it's like, oh, it doesn't mean what I thought it meant. But I'll get to that later.
Did you write a paragraph for yourself?
No, I got no paragraphs.
You're gonna use it. Okay.
Yeah, I'll spill it in here. I got it.
Sure.
Fine. Poll question.
You forgot yesterday. Okay, our poll question brought to you by the great folks over at Atlas Goods. Go to atlasgds.com. Use promo code CC15. Gets you 15% off your first order of pop rinds. These are the best fresh pork rinds straight from your microwave or air fryer. Our poll question today: do you think Vasily Podkolzin and Nils Hoglander should stay in the AHL? What did you vote with this one? Because we were both kind of interested with this one because we looked at it and like I don't know. Like when you write these poll questions, you kind of think like, okay, I have a rough idea of what I think is going to happen, but I was surprised by the results here. So the options we've given: keep both in the AHL, bring both up to the NHL, bring up Vasily Podkolzin, and of course, as always, I'm angry.
I already know Alex is going. I'm angry because we didn't. No more rat talk on the show. That's where Alex is going. What does he say? Yeah, he's hovering.
I voted bring up Vasily Podkolzin. That was my pick, and we'll see what Alex picks.
Yeah, see what Alex is going. I think he's he's with the people. Had a good
And
let's get to the results and then because I was surprised by a massive percentage of people saying keep both in the AHL.
Yeah, so 68% say keep both in the AHL. 13% say bring both up to the NHL. 11% say bring up Vasily Podkolzin. 8% of folks say they are angry. 68% say keep both in the AHL.
Yeah, 500 votes. A lot of people voting on this. I like it.
So expand. Go ahead.
Sure. So I was thinking Podkolzin. I thought a lot of people would be voting for call up Vasily Podkolzin in this situation as well. It's like, I don't know, maybe I'm closer to the situation in Abbotsford than the average people voting on here, but I don't see a lot for Vasily Podkolzin to gain more in the AHL, especially with the new coach. Like I think he would gain more coming up here and being in Rick Tocchet's system, being part of how Rick Tocchet's going to look at his lines and see how to deploy players. I think Podkolzin has more to gain up in the AHL right now. I don't think Hoglander does, because I don't think Hoglander's going to find a spot with certain players who, something that Tocchet's talked about is like, if you're in the bottom six, you got to be able to do something else with the team, right? Penalty killing is kind of the thing that he's talked about a little bit. Maybe Hoglander's a guy who can do something on your power play, but for me, I think you want to see Hoglander be able to score and be a top 9 player in the NHL. So keeping him in the AHL is the way. I like that. I'm with the people on that, and I think a lot of people are in that boat. But I think Podkolzin is like he's an NHLer, man. He's an NHLer playing in the AHL right now is the way that I'm looking at it. And I think that though that maybe there's a long game and maybe there is more confidence to be gained there from him, I think he's at a point right now where he would also gain a lot of confidence, and not only in himself, but from the coach. If he's able to get back into the NHL and have success in the NHL with this new coach, I think that's a higher level of confidence for not only the player, but probably the coaching staff. It's just, to me, I think the organization and the upper management is now looking at his confidence and making a decision to keep him there. Because they had a complete wide open door to just be like, yep, come up, you're in. Lockwood is injured, he's on IR. There is a spot in the lineup for you.
And hey, if you're going to be rolling 4 lines, it's different than what we were saying before about when Bruce Boudreau was the coach.
And the other thing with Tocchet is like, you want to see some different guys killing penalties. Here you go.
There you go.
Like this opportunity.
And I like Joshua on the penalty kill last night.
Yep. And this was a opportunity, a gold-plated opportunity for Podkolzin to come up and do that role, but probably be a 4th liner. So maybe not as gold-plated as I would have thought.
But okay, yeah, sorry, go on.
But it's the NHL. Well, go ahead. Wherever you're about to say.
I was going to say, Rob the Siding Guy responded on Twitter to the poll question and said, strange results. Once trades start happening, opportunities will open up. Bring them up, especially if top 6 spots become available. And hey, we've talked about the trade deadline. And again, we're not going to get too into this conversation today, but a lot of talk about Andrei Kuzmenko right now. We've both made it clear.
Next thing in the outline, by the way.
Well, yeah. Okay. Do you want to get to this?
No, keep going. You can tie it in, though. It's in there.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, I don't want to have this conversation today. It's a game day. There's going to be plenty of time to talk about it. We've already made our feelings clear on it. Has your mind changed at all on Kuzmenko? Like, I think both of us are saying stop tying up money in wingers. Like, it's almost like the Bo Horvat, JT Miller situation where, yeah, maybe if you hadn't signed JT Miller, we would say, yeah, go out, try and sign Bo, even if you're going to have to be paying a little higher than you would have liked because he's on this crazy pace this year. Maybe you go out and do it. But because you signed JT Miller and now can't trade him for nearly what you could have gotten last deadline, right? Because you did that, you cannot sign Bo Horvat. Yeah. Like, you can't do it. You can't do it if you're the Canucks and you're in the current state that this team's in. And I think it's a similar situation where you say, well, you chose to sign Brock Besser last offseason. He's here for 3 years. Connor Garland, he's still here. Like, I understand Kuzmenko's played really well with Elias Patterson. And this isn't even mentioning that Podkolzin and Hoglander are both in the AHL and those guys could come up, right? And you would think, especially in rebuilding years or retooling years, whatever you want to call it, could have success playing with Elias Patterson. If you gave them, what'd you say, like 400 minutes? If you give them that much time, they're going to put up 20 goals, either of those guys.
Yeah,
like,
I think
You've got Mikheyev for 4 years.
Listen,
stop tying up so much money in wingers. That's what this team needs to learn.
Yeah, they have wingers coming. We got Lekaramaki stuff later on. We got guys in the AHL that you hope to be top 9 wingers on your team. You have a guy in Brock Besser who you've already made a commitment to pay a middle 6 guy $6 million, who you think might be a second line guy. You can't be throwing all this money. You have a Connor Garland making $5 million.
And I'm not.
You have all these wingers. You don't know if JT Miller's a winger or a center. Like, he sounds like he's going to be a center under Rick Tocchet, but you don't know long term if he's going to stay there.
I don't want to rehash.
You can't have 6 wingers making like $5 million plus.
No, you can't.
That's crazy.
Like, that's not a recipe for success. No. And I don't want to rehash all of the arguments, but like, people will say,
why all of our prospects are wingers? Yes.
Why would you trade? Like, people say, why would you trade a late first round pick for Kuzmenko? Because you're hoping that becomes Kuzmenko. Genuinely, what value is there? And the only argument that I've heard that I say, like, yeah, maybe, I'm not sold on it, is the argument of, well, he plays well with Patterson. You want to keep Patterson happy. That's the only argument I'm even willing to listen to. What benefit do you have from signing Kuzmenko to a 2 to 3 year deal on a bridge deal? It's going to be $5 or $6 million. What benefit do you have? You know what benefit you have in trading him for a first round pick, even if it's a late first round pick? And people say, well, that first round pick might not even turn into Kuzmenko. Like, it might not even be a top 6 producer at the NHL level. Yeah, that's the thing. We keep talking about this, and I don't want to rehash all the arguments, and it's not even an argument. You agree with me. But, like, I keep pointing to the Montreal situation. They loaded up on first round picks. They have cap space because of that. That gives you a lot of flexibility. You can trade those picks for players that you believe in. Mm-hmm. They flipped a first and a third for Kirby Dach. Like,
think about what the Canucks are looking for with Bo Horvat. Think about what every team's looking for. Just like a prospect that might be able to come into the NHL.
Well, is that what the Canucks are looking for?
Maybe, but like, what I'm saying is, think about how valuable Brock Faber was when he got traded for Kevin Fiala. Think about how much everybody in the Vancouver Canucks, when you look at the other teams and you're starting to pick players out, how often have we heard Scotty Morrow's name? A guy who hasn't touched the NHL.
Second round
pick.
He's
just a right shot defenseman who was picked in the second round. Who, like, there's a lot of exciting things about him, but he hasn't touched professional hockey. He's just 6'3" and right-handed and can skate pretty well.
Yeah.
Like, he has proved nothing at the NHL level. But think about the value. He's like the main piece if you're looking at Carolina.
Exactly. And you have to have the ability to look past what's right in front of your face and stop living day to day, because people say, like,
even if it's such a good smile like Kuzmenko, you got to look past it, man.
And we like Kuzmenko. Both of us really like Kuzmenko. But where the team is at in their current state, you need a disciplined deadline where you're adding all these assets. Like, the people that are out there, and I've seen you people out there that say on Twitter, they're like, would I rather have the guy who's putting up 20 goals this season or a guy who might put up 20 goals in 3 years? Yeah, obviously the guy right now. For what? For what? What are you gaining from having Kuzmenko? It's got you nowhere near the playoffs this year.
No.
Like, you have serious major surgery to do. Anyways.
Can't keep throwing things. The Canucks need to disabuse themselves from overpaying these wingers and actually get the value and flexibility that you can get from not only having a prospect that could be a defenseman, could be a center. Heck, it could be a goalie, Quads. It could be a damn goalie, whoever you draft. Whatever it is, you can have the flexibility from two ways, from the cap space and from the prospect or the draft pick.
Yep.
You could take that draft pick, you could attach it to whatever, you go out and do it
gives you flexibility.
You keep bringing up the Montreal Canadiens. Do you think the Canadiens would have been able to get Kirby Dach without any flexibility? Hell no.
Yeah, exactly.
So, like, I'll bring this up tomorrow. But I'll you know what? I'll save it. I'll bring it up tomorrow.
Last thing I want to say. So Commander Vander jumped in the chat, and he's pointed out PD makes Kuz, not vice versa. A lot of people are pointing at the shooting percentage for Kuzmenko, and again, I don't want this to turn into us ripping on Kuzmenko.
No, he's having a great player at doing what he does.
Exactly. He's having a lot, like, every analytic that you could look at, right? That tells you if a player is lucky or if a player is shooting at an unsustainable rate, or what they're doing right now is unsustainable. Like, almost all of those say that Kuzmenko's production is going to drop. Now, look, he's just shy of being a point per game player. I understand, like, his value might drop, his production might drop a little bit, and that's not the end of the world. But you have a chance to sell high here. Like, you have a chance if you're the Canucks. You have a chance to get some cap flexibility. You have a chance to get some assets. And I'm done. I don't want to keep doing this.
We've gone back to it a lot.
So many wingers on this team. Everybody knows the problem on the back end. You don't fix that by just loading up on more and more wingers. I'm done. I'm not talking about it anymore. Okay. Odds and ends. Go.
Cool. Let's start. Where do I go? I got a bunch of stuff to get to here. Abbotsford. Actually, one last Kuzmenko thing. Okay. And I want people to answer this in the chat too. Because now there's years and there's numbers being thrown out there. Kevin Weeks, we saw the tweet up there earlier. So Kuzmenko, who will turn 27 very soon here, a 2-year deal at $5.35 million. Who does that really help? Like, who does that really help? I got the photo here of Dan Milstein's tweet. You can pull this up, the money tweet. That's who it helps. This 2-year deal does nothing. This 2-year deal is that if you sign a 2-year extension, you're at the point of where the Canucks should finish their retool, like we've heard. So now what? Now you pay him $8 million because he's really good? Or you say, okay, well, the last 2 years didn't work out. Now you're only a $3 to $4.5 million guy. Either or, like, and at that point, you're like, oh, it didn't work out, but now we have to pay him less, but it's not working out. Like, I don't see a win here for a 2-year deal. So in my eyes, if you were to float, like, say the 27th overall pick in this upcoming draft, taking that every single time.
Plus maybe like a B or C level prospect.
Sure. Yeah. And then it's like, yeah, it just makes a lot of sense to me to go that direction. But we've talked about this so much. Let's get to Abbotsford.
Yeah, go.
Nils Hoglander, 2 goals in a 4-0. Get this, Quads. 18 save shutout win for your boy, Artur Silovs, who getting a lot of praise. I do want to bring this up though. This play here from Nils Lekkerimaki. Blow it up there, Alex. Blow it up. If he would have scored this, I tell you, comes in and spin moves to the backhand, dekes another guy, almost puts it in the back of the net, but drew a penalty on the play. I tell you, watching Lekkerimaki do a couple things. I'm excited to chat with them maybe again tonight. Like, you don't get the best interviews from him, but I'm definitely going to talk to Podkolzin. I'll be at the game tonight for sure. So, I mean, just really, if he would have scored that goal, people would have been going nuts. I do have the Hoglander goal too. I'm going to pull that up real quick as you zone completely out because I know you look at that. You don't need the sleeper cam.
Yeah, we need the sleeper cam for
the sleeper cam here. Nope. But Hoglander scored a nice goal and just kind of working his way like this. He's doing this in the AHL. He's just got a quicker stick than everyone, and able to score a goal. He ends up adding a second one later in the game, kind of the insurance goal. So nice little run for him. I'll be chatting with him tonight for sure because he had a good game yesterday. Podkolzin blocked a shot early in the game. Looked like he had to crawl to the bench. It was not looking good. But I tell you, I don't know. I've said this before on the show. I don't know what Podkolzin's made out of, but I don't think it's from this planet. There's something going on with this guy where he just like, he looks like there was a time where you remember in the KHL, this was a long time ago, he took this massive hit where it looked like he like couldn't like get to the bench and listen. I think concussion protocol is a little different down in the K, but like he looked like he looked like it was not, he was wobbly. And then he just comes out like 2 shifts later. I'm like, okay, this is, that might not have been a good long-term thing for Podkolzin, but he is a tough dude. That's for sure. Okay. Aside from that, they're up against the Marlies again tonight. So excited for that. I'll be out there, be chatting with these guys. Jonathan Lekkerimaki stuff. Okay. Can we get the quote up here? Cami Granato answered one of my questions here about Jonathan Lekkerimaki coming over to the WHL next season.
You going to read all that?
No, I mean, I'm just going to kind of put it on the screen. I tweeted it out if people want to see it on the podcast. The gist of it is they don't want to make, they don't want to push a decision here. They're happy with where he's playing. They like the development there at Djurgårdens. He's focused on getting back to the SHL, and he's getting minutes. And listen, Cammy's banging on at the end here. The final thing I'll read, he's getting an opportunity to play big games down the stretch, and that'll only benefit him in the long term. Played on the first line today. So that's really good. Okay, this is, when asked if there was any thought, this is my question to the Canucks organization. It was somebody in management to give a quote on. It was something about bringing him over to the WHL because we've talked about it. The Vancouver Giants, they have his rights. I wasn't expecting them to be like, yes, we're going to try and get him over. Okay. I didn't think that, Granato or Alvin or anybody was going to give me a quote saying, yes, we want to get him over to Vancouver. The reason I wanted to ask was because I had an agent reach out over the weekend who read one of my articles about Jonathan Lekkerimaki. So there you go, Quads, Canucks Army, blog for the agents. So Lekaramaki is a client of Jerry Johansson and the Sports Corporation. Okay. Follow me on this road here. That company, and Jerry specifically, works with 2 former Vancouver Giants imports the goalie Jesper Vikman, you've heard of him. Vegas Gold 19, never heard of him. First rounder Fabian Lysell, you've heard of him, right? Yep. So what I heard was the thought that it would be good for Lekaramaki is the fact that the Sedins, who, by the way, Daniel and Henrik Sedin out on the ice today at the LEC, working with these top prospects out there. The thought process is the comfortability of being able to work with the Sedins as much as they want. And listen, this is your top prospect. You're going to put some time and effort from the Sedins into this prospect if he's with the Vancouver Giants next year. And skills coach, and I'm bad at the name, Yogi Svechkovsky. I think I nailed it, actually. For skill development, he was on the ice with the Canucks. He's on the ice all the time with the Vancouver Canucks. But he's a guy that could get out there and work with the Lekaramaki. You get him here in the dub. You get him here with some confidence. You get him scoring a ton of goals, playing against players here in North America, getting used to the ice. I saw Lekaramaki talking about the opportunity to play in the World Juniors and how different it was for the ice. It was a big adjustment, he said, and it's difficult. It's going to take some time to adjust. So him coming over to the dub next year, he would rip it up. He would absolutely tear it up. He should be tearing it up. And I don't know if this success or lack of that he's having in the Allsvenskan is really the best for his development. You're watching guys like Liam Öhgren, who has taken after him. Öhgren's been scoring like crazy lately in the Allsvenskan League. He's getting top opportunities to play on that team. He's being relied upon in big moments. Lekaramaki's not getting that right now. Yes, he's on the first line, but when they're defending a lead, he's not out there. When they really need a goal, sometimes he's out there, but not every single time. If the Giants are down a goal in the third period, they're playing Lekaramaki for like 12 minutes in that period. They need a goal. He would be their best scorer on the Giants team. They would be playing the wheels off of him in these big opportunities. So what I heard from an agent was that my hunch about him coming over to the WHL is likely correct. It's a very possible thing. The situation with his agent already having the connection with the Vancouver Giants and working with his clients to get to this point. His last two draft picks coming from Sweden, like I said, Vikman, Lysell, they've come to the Vancouver Giants. This is an agent who's worked with them before. He understands the situation. He understands wanting to get his players to the NHL or even the AHL, because with the new transfer agreement out of Sweden that was signed by Peter Forsberg, not the Peter Forsberg I thought, a different Peter Forsberg, just another dude. So the article I wrote last week, a little off because I didn't say it was the Peter Forsberg. It just happened to be another Peter Forsberg. But with the new transfer agreement, there's a different situation for first round picks than there is with second to seventh round picks, where you can go into the WHL next year and he can jump right in as a 19-year-old into the AHL. There's a transfer agreement that needs to be paid. That's a little bit of a different fund. That's money stuff that I don't think really matters that much, except for like Swedish hockey. They get some good money out of it, but told that it was likely correct if it was a possibility to bring him over. And because of the history, and I would love it. I think Lekaramaki would gain from being an absolutely dominant WHL player because you want to see him build that confidence. So I'd like to see it happen. Like I said, I didn't think the Canucks were going to come out and give me a quote where they're like, yes, we are pushing for this. We want this to happen. I wasn't expecting that quote. I was expecting this quote that I got from Cami Granato about it, that they like the development. They're not going to, frustrate the other team. They're not going to be telling the other team that they don't like the development. They're just going to say like, yeah, we think he's gaining in the long term. Yes. I also think in the long term, WHL would be a nice move for him to build some confidence next year. So I'd love to see it. Love to see him in a Giants uniform next year. I know a lot of people out in Langley, they'd love to see it too.
Did anybody get word of the day? I heard you use it.
I don't think anybody did.
I don't think anybody got it. Okay. Well, any other odds and ends before we get to Betway?
What do I got? Odds and ends here. Anything else? I got the Klimovich scoring chance. No, I'll be on Abbotsford tonight.
That'll be Cody Sievertson's writing a little recap of the last 2 days. So it's going to be good.
Yeah, what's he doing? Sitting in his chair all day long, tipping and tapping away with petting his dog half the time. What am I doing? Bootstrapping up, heading out to Abbotsford, 4-hour drive, 4 hours back, uphill both ways.
Okay. Betway, let's go.
I don't get paid enough. All right. Betway. Speaking of getting paid, $5 for each Betway mentioned today. Take that to the boss's quads. All right, Betway. You know what? We got another Canucks game tonight. You read the first one. I got to take a sip here.
Elias Pettersson or JT Miller to score a goal tonight against those Seattle Kraken at -175 odds. A $10 bet will return you $15.71.
What do you think of that one, Quads? Betway.
Over at Betway. I like that.
What do you think?
I like that.
Either or, Patterson or Miller?
And hey, I like the other one too because you've written Vancouver Canucks to win along with over 6.5 total goals and Elias Pettersson to score a goal. $10 bet there gets you $90
what do you do
in
with
return.
That $90?
Now, hang on a sec. The Canucks have not lost to the Seattle Kraken yet.
That's true.
Or is that in regulation or all in all?
All in all, baby.
All in all. So Vancouver Canucks to win on the money line. Like we said, over 6.5 total goals. And Elias Pettersson to score a goal at plus 800 odds. $10 bet gets you $90 return over at Betway 19 plus. If you choose to play, please play responsibly.
You take that $90, you go down, you get a $5 taco. How many $5 tacos can you get for $90, Quads?
Ooh, you put me on the spot, and
18.
I don't like that. There you go. Good
18
job.
18 of those tacos. You and Frank, you got the friggin'
I'd have to calculate that.
Tap friggin' thing over here.
I think it's 18.
It is 18.
Okay, we'll wrap it up there.
But you got to be 19. Sorry, we got to be throwing around the 18. 18 plus bet the responsible way over there.
I said that, didn't I?
know. No, I said 18. I said, but that's how much, how many $5 tacos you could get.
Oh, yeah. Well,
on
I said
Tuesday at
19 plus
Montana's.
I think people got it, Chris.
All right.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow. I'll be back tomorrow. It's my Friday tomorrow. But we'll be back. We'll talk about the Kraken game. And then next week, we'll talk about next week's schedule.
Oh, no, do it now. We have a couple minutes here.
Well, we're thinking we'll do a show Wednesday.
All-Star break. Yeah.
So Wednesday.
What are we going to talk about every day?
Hey, Luongo going to be in the breakaway challenge. I'm excited to watch that. I am. I'm excited to watch it. We'll have coverage.
Only one show next week.
Yeah, one show next week on Wednesday and it's Saturday as well.
We are, I think, tomorrow.
Or maybe Friday.
I think we'll have time to do a Patreon. We will release it next week.
Okay.
To kind of give some of our Patreon people something throughout the week. But we're going to take a little bit of a week off. All these hockey players, they're going down to Punta Cana for the weekend. For the week or wherever. Hawaii. They're all going down there. Where am I going? I might go to Kits for a day.
Patreon.com/Canucks Convo gets you all this bonus content if you're in the $5 and $10 tiers. All right, we'll wrap it up there. For my co-host Chris Faber and our technical producer Alex Allard, my name is David Quadrelli. Thank you so much for listening to another episode of the Canucks Conversation.
Thanks for listening to Canucks Conversation. Hit the subscribe button to never miss an episode.